Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading, and in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets, but we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Anarchy Day Trading Podcast. I hope you all have been doing awesome, being consistent. By the way, this is a caveat in the intro, but being consistent, what I mean by consistency is not consistent profits. Obviously, we hope you're doing well monetarily and making profits. But when we talk about doing well in trading, what I mean and what Jordan and I mean when we're talking to you guys is, are you doing well being consistent with what you need to do to be successful? Okay. When we're talking about learning anything, this is true for everything. Focus on what you need to do that will eventually get you to where you want to go. When you're day trading, focus on what you need to do. Spending time in the market, journaling, all the things we talk about a lot. That will eventually get you to profit. When you're trying to lose weight, don't focus on losing weight. That just causes problems. That just causes crash diets. It causes all sorts of things. You're going to just fail. Focus on eating healthy and working out. And eventually losing weight happens. So you have to shift your mindset. When we talk about being successful, hope you guys are being consistent, doing well. What I mean, the profit will come later. I hope you guys are among the very few people who stay consistent long enough to see results. The results will come on their own time. Okay. Caveat in the intro, not a great start. I was reminded again. We were watching The Lord of the Rings recently. I've been rewatching The Lord of the Rings. Fantastic, Jordan. It's the best trilogy of all time, hands down. Don't at me, anybody. Okay.
Don't even get. Hey, listen. I've been rewatching it, and I am getting close to admitting that you're probably right, but I'm reserving my judgment.
Yeah. Jordan is not a true believer, and frankly, it disgusts me. Okay, so we were rewatching it, and I was reminded of wizards, you know, and what wizardry is. When we say, "Oh, that guy's a whiz kid" or "that guy's a wizard," what does it mean? What does it mean when someone's a wizard? What it means is somebody can do something that's unexplainable. This is true. I mean, that's essentially what magic is. Like, whether you're, say, supernatural magic or whether it's just some guy on a stage, it's somebody doing something that's unexplainable. If it's explainable, it's not good magic. Okay, so magic wizardry is just doing things that are unexplainable. And this reminded me as I was rewatching these movies and seeing these wizards and asking questions of a book I read my freshman year of college by Malcolm Gladwell called Blink. And essentially, it's an entire book on this phenomenon. People doing things that are unexplainable. Firemen knowing ahead of time that the floor was going to cave in. Art aficionados who can tell that a statue is a fake, even though everyone else thought it was real, thought it was good, and there was nothing that gave them any indication otherwise. They just felt it. And there's an entire book on wizardry, specifically how to develop it, how to develop wizardry. Because here's my main point of this episode. Successful day traders are wizards. Successful day traders who can make profit consistently are wizards. They can do things that are not easily explainable. Jordan, we've done entire episodes on how just knowing, if I could sit down and tell my exact strategy, in fact, we're going to on our upcoming masterclass, I can tell you exactly how I trade, and a successful trader can tell you exactly how to trade, and you can't replicate it. It's a wizardry. So Jordan, I wanted to do this episode on how to give really grounded, real ways of how to develop that wizardry in yourself so that you eventually can become a day trading wizard. Jordan, that was a long intro, but how you doing, man?
Doing well, doing well. Just got a new house we're going to be moving into this week. Been a busy time. Got a new house we're moving into that's got some property, so the kids are super excited. Having to buy a bunch of stuff to, of course, get ready for the move. And just got back from Moab. And win-win, I didn't kill myself, which, as anyone who knows my previous Moab trips, usually ends up with me going off ledges, doing endos, and nearly killing myself. And I avoided that. I just watched my kids do it instead, you know. So. But we made it back safe. Did some classics, hit Bartlett Wash, took my 4-year-old on the practice loop of Slick Rock, forgetting how difficult the practice loop of Slick Rock is. But anyways, that was a an adventure, but we made it. And so yeah, ton of fun. But glad to be. I've got a new job I'm starting up here, starting off here next week. So a lot going on. But back to what you were saying about wizardry, like I get the thing about wizardry, which I find really cool is, or I guess I find interesting, is once you know how a trick is done, it suddenly becomes, it's very easy to lose that sense of wonder, right?
Hmm.
It's like if you know how a trick is done, it's not even impressive, right? You watch someone do like a card, like I've got to say, I personally love card magic, and there's a couple guys that just are absolute wizards, um, and I remember watching one where it's like, he takes the deck of cards and then next thing you know, it's sorted into, suits and it's sorted into reds and white, reds and blacks and all in order. And the cards that someone picked are in the opposite direction. It's like how, and then you watch how he did it and you're like, oh, I could do that with a little practice. And suddenly it goes from being wizardry to just going, oh, I could do that if I practice a little bit. And I think that's kind of what I hope to bring to people on this podcast is to take you from that's magical to, oh, wait a second. I could do that if I practice a little bit. And that's my biggest takeaway is it's not magic. We can show you how to do it. It's all just about practicing. Same as, any card trick or anything like that if you like to watch Penn and Teller or Fool Us or something like that.
I absolutely love that point. I love that. That's fantastic. It's true. Wizardry is only wizardry if it's unexplainable. The second it's explainable, or the second you know how to do it personally, um, it's not wizardry. It's just now it's going to be wizardry for everyone else, and you're the wizard. But it's just now it's just explainable. That's fantastic. I love that point. Okay, so I want to start off with the one thing, one main way to become a wizard. One of the point things you're going to have to do. We've actually had a lot of experience with this recently. One, immerse yourself in varied scenarios. Okay, you're going to have to see a lot of different stuff. If you're going to become a wizard and get used and start doing things that you can't explain or that someone else can't explain necessarily, as a day trader, being able to know, hey, this trade is not going to work out for me 60% of the time, right? To have that feel, that wizardry that a beginner would never be able to tell just by looking at it, you have to immerse yourself in a bunch of different various scenarios. The good part about the market is it brings those scenarios to you on its own. So you don't have to actually go looking for them. You just have to spend enough days on the market, watching the market. A good example is if you just watch the market for half an hour every day for a few years, the market will bring you a bunch of different scenarios. And this is a way to take a lot of the pressure off. Jordan, you and I have talked a lot recently about the difficulties we've had the last 6 months or so, and a lot of that around the new president, a lot around tariffs, a lot around just a bunch of different stuff in the world. The market's looking different. It's going to be different. It's going to act differently, and as a result, you're going to struggle. That's not a bad thing. Again, the way to become a wizard is to see a bunch of stuff and just immerse your brain in a bunch of different scenarios. The market will bring those to you if you let it. So don't freak out if you're having issues, or if your strategy that worked for a really long time is now all of a sudden not working anymore. That's not a huge surprise. The market's bringing you different scenarios. Just embrace that, let it wash over you, and start filling your brain with a new list of scenarios that it can then pull from. In the book that I talked about, Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, he talks a lot about thin slicing, where people's brain, that's the way he explains it, thin slicing, which is essentially pattern recognition, right? It's these art experts who can spot a fake statue, right? It's because their brain thin slices the slight discrepancy based off of years of, of exposure, and and as a result they can see things other people can't, and that happens subconsciously, but it only happens if you just immerse yourself in a bunch of stuff. So what our first thing of a bit of advice to new traders is immerse yourself, immerse yourself, immerse yourself, take a lot of time, spend it on the market, and let that market bring you different varied scenarios.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to, and we've talked about this in the past, whereas you've got to essentially, as you build that repetition or you just do it, the wizardry disappears. You just go, and it's not because of, it's like you ask it, like, how does a golfer know, and go listen to our one of our very first episodes on how trading's like golf, but how does a golfer know that if I swing this far, it's going to go, 280 yards, and if I swing with this club, it's going to go 235. And if you watch YouTube videos, there's guys that can call their shots, within 2 or 3 yards a lot of times. How do they know that? To us, it looks like wizardry. To them, it's not, and it's all about just putting those reps in.
Yeah, and we talked about golf a lot. Gladwell in this book actually mentions it as well, and I remember reading about it, and it's funny that I didn't bring it up during those episodes because I loved that book when I read it, which was essentially his main point bringing up golf is to, this is my second point, avoid overthinking. This is one reason I have a huge problem with ICT, other than he's kind of a kook. Personally, forget it. Like I can follow somebody who's a kook as long as their stuff is decent. But the
Hey,
one
they're
problem,
they're making money and they're crazy. That's okay. I'll take it.
yeah,
By the way,
exactly,
also
exactly.
evidence he's not making money.
Yeah, and my main problem with ICT is that it encourages overthinking. In
Yeah.
other words, and by the way, this is a reason newbies love ICT. It's because newbies don't want to feel. That feels very scary. It feels very unsure. And so they want something that'll give them specific, hey, here's the algorithm, right? And you just
Well,
have to follow
honestly,
these
it
rules.
honestly it goes against everything that we learn as humans growing up,
Yeah.
right? Because we as humans, like growing up, we learn to be very analytical, right? I mean, that's what makes us human is the fact that we can reason, right? And we've learned to that reasoning has become kind of like a safeguard to us over the years as we become more or less civilized, depending on how you look at it. But think about it. Like, no one wants to go to their doctor and the doctor goes, yeah, based off of you, I kind of feel like you need a little bit of this. Like, no one would want that, right? And
Yeah.
that's kind of, no one wants to go to their mechanic and their mechanic goes, yeah, well, based off of the aura, I was like, it's like based off of my feeling driving this car. Like, people want to have concrete things. So switching that is very hard.
Yeah, it is difficult. Although to kind
It's
of
counterintuitive.
like, yeah, it is a little bit counterintuitive. But the funny thing is, biology is actually built off of feel. In other
Valid.
words, you don't learn logic until you're starting to get into school and starting to learn math. The fact is, most like you learn to walk by just feel, right? That's
True.
feel. It's a very difficult thing, actually. Like not many animals can stand on two legs. It's very difficult, but you learn it as a kid. How? By just trying a bunch, and eventually your brain figures out, okay, I have to lean this way if I'm falling this way, and my inner ear is sending a signal here, and so I got to step this direction to not avoid falling over. It's actually incredibly complex to just stand, and you learn it when you're a baby just by doing it. And so yeah, learning to kind of embrace that feel and avoid overthinking is really important. This is why my second point is kind of a big deal. Avoiding overthinking, this is again going back to why I don't like ICT. It encourages overthinking, where you're trying to become so logical and so mathematical that you never allow yourself to actually learn and embrace embrace the gut feeling and embrace the feel that can come when you just put in the reps.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to agree with that. And I mean, to add to that, the feel and the embracing the feel is honestly, I think that's the hard part, right? Is
Right.
and you can it's not something that you can teach, and it's barely something you can learn except by just learning. And I don't know how to explain that because it's almost like you can't teach yourself. It's like saying, how do you teach do kids teach themselves to walk? They don't teach themselves to walk, right? Like they
Yeah.
just keep trying. And it's kind of like we can say, yeah, you got to teach yourself to feel. Well, that almost right there is overthinking. You're already almost in the overthinking it. I do have to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is why we kind of avoid trying to mentor people. There's a lot of power in having a good mentor. As long as the mentor, for instance, there's a ton of power in having a parent encourage. Kids don't learn how to walk for years if they don't have a parent who's encouraging them to walk. A lot of kids who are neglected kids won't learn to walk until very late. Why? Well, they don't have someone encouraging them, going, hey, yeah, come to me, or holding them by the hand and helping the right. A good mentor can, because it's a feel-based game, the value of a mentor isn't to teach you some trick or magic spell. The goal of a mentor is to be that parent, to be holding your hand, helping you forward, encouraging you. Helping you kind of fix mistakes, right? Holding you upright and holding you by the hand as you go through it yourself. That's the value of a mentor. And so, kind of having that feedback that can be really helpful if you can find somebody willing to give that to you and who's not just trying to sell you some secret sauce.
Yeah, that's a great point, Levi. And to kind of just wrap it up, listen, if you want to remove the veil from the wizardry of training, we've got a master class coming up on the 2nd of July. Feel free to join us there. Link will be in the description. And we will try to reveal a little bit of how we trade, why we trade the way we do. And while we don't promise you results or even encourage you to even trade the same way we do, hopefully it does provide you a little bit more insight to how we view and approach the markets in general. So feel free to sign up for that. Again, July 2nd. Link will be in the description. Thanks and have a good one.
Love you guys.